My name is James Wisniewski from Canton, Michigan. I have 3 sisters. My mom's Sharon, my dad's Jim, oldest sister's Nikki, my other older sister Shelly, and I have a younger sister Brianna. I kind of started playing hockey a little bit later, and I could say per se of what Canadians do. I mean, Canadians are skating at 2, 3 years old. I didn't start skating until I was about 4 or 5. My uncle Billy Day, he played in the NHL, played pro for 18 years. And that was back in the original 6 days. So I mean, he was one of the grandfathers in the sport. Grew up in Michigan, obviously, hockey in the wintertime. You go out and skate on lakes, and I remember, I think I was 5 or 6 years old. My first hockey school was Bill Gadsby's hockey school. I don't know if anybody is going to know that name, but look him up. He's played for the Red Wings. And then, I kind of developed a love for it. I started getting more interested. My parents had to sacrifice a lot. We grew up, lower middle class. My parents were divorced when I was 5 years old. And, it was tough, obviously. 5 years old, you're in kindergarten, first grade, your parents separate, and then you see how hard they have to work to provide for their family. My mom worked 3 jobs. My dad's working, double shifts at the oil plant. And, anything they could do to make our lives better for me and my sisters. We always say hockey parents are the best, because when you're younger, you have to skate at 7 in the morning. You have games at 7:30. You have to parents will wake up on their weekends at 5:30 in the morning to take their kid to play an hour and a half away or an hour away, and we owe it all. That's why you can see a lot of hockey players are kind of like mommy's boys, because it was always mom taking their sons to the game or practice or whatever it is. Not saying dads did it, but it's just kind of the way it is. Obviously I started loving the sport and started playing for CompuWare. I remember it was actually Yaya's Chicken when I was 8 years old was our sponsor for my mini-mite team, and I played for the Westland Sharks. And then kind of just started, being better than everybody else. And then so I went and played AAA hockey with the CompuWare Ambassadors, and and I was actually a forward at the time. So I was a goal scorer, but they said, they didn't like my skating, so they put me back on D for power play. And then I was just tearing it up for, my power play time. And then, as my career went on, I just started training, and actually training at a young age. I mean, I was working out when I was 14 years old, 15 years old, but I was also playing, baseball and doing other things. So I've always said that one of the biggest keys, I don't want kids to think that they just have to play hockey. I think the best thing is to kind of play all sports, because I believe every sport has another availability to help with every other sport. I mean, whether play golf, you have to understand you have to play it slow. You can't get too down, too high, too up and too down. You have to forget about the next shot. You have to forget about the next play. So you can't be too high or too low. And then baseball, you get the hand-eye coordination. That's going to help with hockey with knocking the puck down or one-timers or anything like that. So my biggest thing was I wanted to get double drafted in baseball and hockey. So I played baseball throughout my career, and that's the reason why when I was 16 years old I decided to go to major junior in the OHL with Plymouth Whalers. Is that I figured if I didn't turn out hockey-wise, I could go play college baseball. So at 16 years old, I played for the Plymouth Whalers. I made first team all-rookie team that year, and then the next year after that was my draft year, and we were rated like number 2 in Canada. We lost in the first round actually, but it was like a blessing and a curse. I got to go play with the go back when I was 16. It was my first time ever playing for my country in the under-17 tournament, and we won the under-17 Worlds. So it was my first gold medal for Team USA. Following year, my draft year, we lost in the first round, so I got to go play with the under-18 team for the US Worlds as well. And that's the first time I tore my right ACL when I was 18 years old. And that's my first real understanding of pain. And the road to recovery was going to happen, because in 2002, tearing your ACL wasn't like it is now, where it's kind of like, everybody's going to do it, you just get it fixed. It was kind of one of those things, like, this guy going to be able to come back and make it from that. So my draft stock dropped. I think I was rated 34th in the world or something like that. So didn't know. I had no expectations. I went to the draft in Toronto with my family. There's like 25 of us. And obviously they do the first 2 rounds, and I still had a chance, I believe, to get drafted maybe in the first 2 rounds. And sure enough, all 60 players went in front of me, and my name hasn't been called. So I'll tell you the embarrassment and the anxiety that I was having, just understanding that, hey, it's not your time right now. So you had to wait for the following day. 3rd round went, no. 4th round went, none. And finally, in the 5th round, I got picked by the Chicago Blackhawks. So I was drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks, 156th overall in 2002. So I just got off of crutches a week before that. I was on crutches for 7 weeks. So that's when my first taste of like the pain meds and the anxiety and the hard to sleep. It started at a young age. But my biggest thing is, when you tell me I can't do something, it's like the worst thing you can tell me, because I'm just going to do it just to prove you wrong. That's what I do. They're like, you're a little too small, you're probably not going to come back from this. Okay. So came back. I missed like 6 games, 8 games, 10 games or something like that. And my following year, ended up having 52 points in 52 games. Played for the World Junior team, which is under 20. And I was in Halifax in 2003. We ended up losing in the semifinals to Finland, so we didn't get the bronze medal. So that had a little bit of a sting, because I was just so used to winning back-to-back gold medals and didn't get a medal. And then I was like, I'm just going to really turn it up this year. So I went into that, my routine regimen was working out 5-6 days a week. My recovery day was Sunday, and I just knew that I wanted to make sure to get signed by Chicago, because I had until the end of the year that year to sign me, and I was really going to go. So that year, we went to Helsinki for the under 20s again, favorite to win, and we ended up winning the gold medal. So that was the first. All 3 of those gold medals were the first ones in U.S. history for those tournaments. So that year I had 70 points in 50 games. So I won OHL Defenseman of the Year, CHL Defenseman of the Year, and I signed my entry-level deal with Chicago. And so that year I turned pro. Turned pro in 2004, and my first year pro was the lockout year, 2004-2005, with the Norfolk Admirals in the American Hockey League. Waiting for this, the NHL to sign with the NHLPA, and maybe I get called up, and who knows. But sure enough, there was no NHL that year. Had a good year. They had like 36 points or something like that. So following year, I didn't make the Blackhawks out of training camp, so I got sent back to the minors. Then, like 8 games into that year, I think I had like 8 points in like 7 games or something. And I got called up to the Blackhawks that year. I played half the season, and I remember to this day, the day I got called up. We were in Hershey, Pennsylvania. That was the last game before the American Hockey League All-Star game. So we were going to go, me and 4 of the guys were going to go to New York, and we got 4 days off, so we're going to take the train there and have a good time. The coach calls me in the office. He's like, "Hey, Wiz, what are you doing for All-Star break?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to New York." He's like, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Whoa, you can't tell me I can't go to New York. Of course I'm going to New York." He's like, "No, you're going to St. Louis." You got called up, and that's when I got a little emotional, kind of like, tear, whatever. I had to call my parents and tell them to pack their bags and fly to St. Louis. I'm playing in 2 days, National Hockey League, first National Hockey League game. So got 20 people came, went down there, and remember my first shift, I got a tripping or a roughing penalty or something like that. And I remember, well, got my name on the board, so whether or not everybody's going to see the score sheet, there's my name. Come on the penalty box, I get a breakaway pass. I'll go in all alone, little wrist shot, boom, right off the crossbar. It almost hit me in the head coming back, and I was like, oh no. So but it is what it is. But the cool thing is that now I'm here as a pro ambassador here. My first NHL goal is here in Phoenix, and I have a lot of family members here. It's kind of the same play, and I remember I top shelf crossbarred in and got my first NHL goal. So I'm like thinking real high of myself. This is great. So following year, I didn't make the Blackhawks out of training camp, so that's where I played 7 games down in the minors, and I get called up. They're playing me as like a 7th forward, 4th line right winger, so I'm just going out there, just trying to fight guys or hit guys or just doing anything I can to stay in the league. And I remember I fought one of my good friends, Travis Mullen, when I played with him the year before. He got traded to Anaheim, and I was with Chicago at the time, and we ended up fighting. And I was looking over, I'm like, hey Mo, how you doing? He's like, good buddy. I'm like, how's the marriage? Congratulations. He's like, good. Is everything good with you? I'm like, hey, great. So it's just kind of part of the deal. And sometimes you want to try to kill the guy, and sometimes you're just doing your job. So my big break to really stay up in the NHL was that game. Adrian Aucoin, our captain, tore his groin, so he was going to be out like 6 to 8 weeks. Well, now I got my spot there. So me and Duncan Keith were actually D partners that whole year, and I was having a great year. And then sure enough, I remember tearing my ACL on my right knee again in March. So there goes the rest of the year, and I know the road to recovery again. It's going to be grueling. It's going to be stressful. The anxiety now. I'm like, am I going to make it back in the league? So sure enough, end up getting a contract. All the pain pills. It was in March, and I made it good enough where I can get there by training camp, which is September. Make the team out of training camp. Did a great job. The way I recovered and just fought my balls off to make sure you're ready for training camp. Have a really good year. And I remember, I think it was in January, I got in a fight with Jordan Tutu, and I stepped on a stick, and I thought I heard a pop in my knee. I just got done again with my ACL, and got an MRI. They say it was only a slight tear, you're fine. I was only on like 6 weeks. Had a really good year, really good year. They had 26 points, 68 games, it was a plus 12, 105 penalty minutes, something like that. It was just a good solid year for my second full year in the NHL. So I'm having a great summer, good training. I'm coming into Chicago, so I was living in Michigan, coming into Chicago to have it was a really cool party. And we were playing golf, and you dress up in like the 1920s, and all the girls come with the big hats afterwards. And so I decided training camp, it was in the end of June, rookie training camp from the Blackhawks, because after the draft, guys come in for like a week to 10 days, and I'm like, I'll just go work out with the boys, the young guys, and say hi to them and meet them. Working out, doing a stupid drill, and I slipped, hear my knee pop, 3rd ACL surgery, back-to-back years. So that was in June, July. So I've had 3 ACL surgeries and I've just turned 24 years old. But then there's a silver lining in the sky, because I had to stay in Chicago. I had to rehab there, and I went to my buddy's fight, Andrei Arlovsky, and went to Vegas, and that's where I met my wife. So I was there, and she had a broken thumb, and I was 10 days after surgery, so I just got off crutches, and I'm like in the pool, we're just hanging out, and then I was trying to keep in touch with her. Nothing happened, and then so I'm rehabbing at this time, and I'm scheduled to come back in December or so. So in November, I reached out again. We're going to a rookie party, and we got together and we met up, and so we started talking and kind of dating, I guess you could say. In November, I come back in December, get sent down to the minors for, they call it conditioning stint. They wanted you to go play a couple games without just going right in the NHL. Going down there, they played me like 12 minutes, kind of eased me in. Second game, I have a hat trick and an assist. So they're like, oh, it looks like you're ready. So get called back up, have another good start to the season, and I invite my wife out to the Winter Classic game. I played the Winter Classic at Wrigley Field, which is really cool. It was us against Detroit, so a couple original 6 teams. And then I get traded, that trade deadline in March to Anaheim. So, and my wife's from California. So, got traded with the Ducks, and that was and I asked for the trade. Unfortunately, I wish I could have been part of the dynasty in Chicago with the 3 Stanley Cups, but I felt from my professional standpoint that getting out of there would have been better. More playing time, so I can actually grow as a professional. So I get traded to Anaheim, and I get deep partnered up with Scott Niedermayer. Arguably could be top 5 best defenseman of all time. And I have Chris Pronger there, Teemu Selanne. So I got 3 Hall of Famers, and it was just really cool because they're out of the playoffs. We got into the playoffs. We beat San Jose, and they're the President's Trophy winners. And then we lost to Detroit Game 7 in the second round. So another good season. And then following year, we get engaged that year, so we get married the following year. So we didn't make the playoffs the next year. And I'm on my honeymoon, come back, looking for a new contract. They sign me, go to the gym. 3 hours later, I come home. I got like 27 missed calls from the same number. I'm like, uh-oh. So, it's the assistant GM, and I'm like, hey, we signed you, and then we traded you to the Islanders. We're like, oh, well, it looks like we're going to New York. I had to go, pick up. Just got married. Got from the honeymoon. Think we're going to be in Anaheim, and that was my free agent year. So we went to the Islanders. Had a really good start of the season, but our team, we were last, so they knew I was a free agent, wanted some big money. So I got traded to Montreal, and that was one of the coolest organizations to be able to play for. The winningest organization in sports history. I think they have 25 Stanley Cups or something like that. So to have that history, to be able to play for, La Canadiens, and be able to be in Montreal, which is a beautiful city. And so I ended up having 51 points that year. I was 3rd in the league in D-man scoring, so what a year to have a career year. And then I get signed a 6-year deal in Columbus, which I live now. I live on Muirfield Village Golf Club in Dublin. So, I'm a huge golfer. And so then I had, a pretty good career in Columbus. Ended up, breaking the record for most points in the season by a defenseman. Had another 51-point season there, which does not stand anymore. I guess Seth Jones beat it. Jerk. So I got traded to Anaheim again. And, that was a tough thing because I didn't want to leave Columbus. But that was one of the times where I started realizing what the sport has kind of done to me mentally and physically. I got diagnosed with depression, so I got put on Zoloft. It was like 75 milligrams a day. So now I'm into pain pills. I have to take depression pills. Got to take Ambien to try to sleep. So things are starting to spiral out of control. You start boozing a lot because you got to try to numb your pain. Your pain becomes a new norm. Like people are like, oh, you don't look like you're hurt, but you don't realize you just start living with yourself like that. There's no way to deal with it other than pills, drugs, and booze. So, that's when it kind of started, really strong. Really, drinking because, neck hurt, concussions, back hurts, shoulder hurts, all this stuff. So, go to Anaheim and. I thought it was going to be a good pace because they had a really good team, and I get healthy scratch the whole playoffs. So I didn't play one playoff game. We lost in the conference finals to Chicago in Game 7. So I was like, I'm going to have to get out of Anaheim as well. So I'm going to ask for a trade in the summertime, and I had 2 years left on my deal. So I get traded to Carolina, and I got home at end of May, beginning of June. I didn't take any recovery time off that year. I was like, I'm going to bust my ass this summer. I'm coming back, and I'm going to be a new and improved Wiz. And my workout schedules was 6 a.m. every day, Monday to Thursday, 5 a.m. on Fridays. So I did it to myself. I said, you know what? If you're gonna have any type of drinks, you're gonna be hurt. And I know you have to train that day at 6 a.m. So I really dedicated that summer to get back. I think I got back like 7.6% body fat. I was just ready, rock and roll. I think at the test I ran the 2-mile run in 11:32. So sub 6 minute miles for 2 miles. And I was ready to rock and roll. And I'm feeling really good. So I busted my ass that summer, and sure enough, 47 seconds into the first game of the season in Nashville, I tear my ACL on my left side. That was my 4th one. And that's when things went on a slippery slope downwards, big time. It's kind of like a why me moment. And after all this hard work, why would this happen to me for the 4th time? Like, what is going on? And so I just remember I had a theater room in my rental house in Raleigh. And I just remember staying up till like 2, 3 in the morning every night, having pills, 2 bottles of wine, beers, just trying to numb the pain, just not knowing how to cope with anything, the bad breaks that I'm getting in life and whatnot. Even though everything seems dandy because you make a lot of money and this stuff, people don't really realize what's happening up in your head. So, I figured I'm still gonna come back. I'm gonna come back. So that season, after that season at the draft, I get told that they're gonna buy my last year of my contract out, and that's usually a dangerous road, so they don't think you can come back. So I'm like, well, you know what? Screw that. I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna come back. Nobody comes to the table and offers me a deal. I get a PTO, which is a professional tryout in Tampa. I get offered one in Edmonton. Hindsight, probably should have taken that one, but I went to Tampa. Get released after like the 3rd game. I remember getting hurt, tearing my intercostal in my ribs, so I couldn't breathe or move, and I'm trying to play hockey, and then it looks like I can't move and all this stuff. So I get released, and nobody picks me up, and I am just devastated. I remember breaking down to my wife and just realizing that I'm just like, I'm done. My agent gets me a deal in Russia. So I have to go to Russia, Vladivostok, Russia. It's like a 3-hour drive to North Korea, all the way on the eastern seaboard. It's a big port. So Russia's the biggest port on the Pacific side. So go there. I have to go to Zagreb, get my visa. Then I go to I'm traveling for like 30 straight hours. Land. They want me to play that day, and I'm like, oh my god. So I ended up played well, so I was really, really happy that I'm getting my feet back. I'm doing all this because I'm thinking hopefully they see that I can play. I can get back to the NHL. So that's where I had, again, where it gets a little depressing is because you're there, nobody goes out in Russia. Russia, they don't want to speak English. Even if they do, they act like they don't know how to because they just don't want to talk to you. So I just sat in my little apartment and watched Netflix and drank again. So that's all you're doing is just trying to numb the pain of like being depressed that you're over in Russia, what happened to my career, my family, my wife and 2 kids are back home. It's just, not good. So I ended up I only had to play like 16 games there, and it was like a 10-week contract, and then I got picked up in the Swiss team called Lugano, and they're playing the Spengler Cup. Go to Spengler Cup, have like 6 points in 4 games. We lose to Canada in the finals. I get defenseman of the tournament. And I'm like, no, somebody's gonna sign me. I'm gonna have to get a contract. Nothing. So I end up, at least I got to go home, see my family for a month, and then I get signed with the Chicago Wolves in the American Hockey League. So I go there, had to get in shape because I didn't play hockey for a month, thought I was done. Get in shape, first game scored, second game scored, third game get an assist, then get healthy scratch. So it was just, all this stuff is just, just a mental grind for me. It's just, when is enough enough? We had a really good team and we had awesome players. I had so much fun playing with these guys, and I just love that. That was the year before they won the Stanley Cup, and like 3 of the guys went to St. Louis and ended up winning the Cup. So finished the season, still nothing that summer. Nothing. No minor league, nothing. So I'm just like, it looks like I'm retired. And I get a call from Jim Johansson, late Jim Johansson, rest his soul. He's a GM for United States, and for the Olympic team because they decided no NHL guys are going to play in the Olympics. He's like, Wiz, I want you to get a job and stay in shape. And I'm like, I can't find one. Could you help me out? He's like, sure. So I ended up going to the DEL2 league in Germany, which is the second league. And I played for a team called Castle. And that's where I kind of rejuvenated my love for the sport again. So, but again, I had to go over and be without my family, but I'm trying to come back. So I played in Castle, Germany. And that's where honestly because I started hating hockey. I kind of despised the game a little bit for as much as people would be like, look what it's done for you, which is true, but look what it also has done to me. With the pills, the alcohol. I mean, obviously we all have our own choice, but depression, it all kind of leads to things. They're like gateway drugs to try to escape the pain. So when I got to Castle, I just had a blast. And I'm winning like the defenseman of the year. They only played 30 games. I think I had 48 points in 30 games or something like that. And I got to stay with Evan McGrath and his wife Maddie. She's actually the daughter of Doug Gilmour, Hall of Fame Doug Gilmour. They're honestly one of my most favorite people. I got a new friendship out of it. And I remember my family came out for Christmas and they were going to announce the Olympic team. And sure enough, I get a call from Jim Johansson on January 1st that I was selected on the United States 2018 men's hockey team. And everything that I was regretting hockey and the work that I had put in finally came to a positive. I'm going to be an Olympian. Nobody can take that away from me. So, got to go to Seoul, South Korea, and play in the Olympics. And it was kind of cool because on February 16th, my whole family came. My dad, my mom, my little sister, my wife, my 2 kids. And on February 16th is my daughter's birthday, Jamie. I got to say happy birthday to her. It was actually on the front page of the USA Today. And I got to say happy birthday to my daughter as an Olympian on the ice. So it was pretty cool because they were on the glass and I got to skate over to them and say happy birthday. So it was pretty an emotional time because, like I said, I've gone through some dark ages and to be able to step on Olympic ice. I scored a goal on February 18th against Slovakia. Yeah. So I got to score an Olympic goal. Fortunately, we lost in the quarterfinals and in a shootout. And during that time, during my time in Germany, I blocked a couple shots in my ankle and my foot was infected. So after the Olympics, they had to really take care of it over because they didn't want to get a staph infection or anything like that. So right when I got home from the Olympics in LA, I got hooked up with Los Angeles Kings doctor and I had to get ankle surgery. So there he goes again. So another surgery, another pills, another laying on a couch, and I was in a little bit better place, but there he goes. You still got to take these pain pills, and you can't sleep at night, and so kind of make yourself go to sleep. So we were in LA for a month or so with my in-laws, and they get back home, and now it's like, now what? I'm retiring, and what's going to happen? What is going to happen in my career? And so the partying kept going, the drinking, because you just kind of you don't know what to do with your life. You had this sport that you kind of had a regimen in, and what it does to you is it kind of puts you in this unreasonable state of promise where when you're done, you're done. And I thank hockey for everything that's done for me, but at the same time, it's caused a lot of problems with the injuries and what I have to deal with. So other than that, I was absolutely ecstatic to be able to play the sport of hockey, because for me it has made me the man who I have had to be and who I am, and everything. I have to thank hockey for the life it's given my family. The way the sport has taught me to be a team player and understanding it's not just about you. Life's not about you. Life's about everybody. And hockey is that. it's never one guy's fault. There's always a a ripple effect to everything that comes within any game. If everybody was perfect, it would be 0-0 every game. But somebody has to make a mistake, and that's why you score a goal. So learning how to play with somebody, play with your teammates, and understanding what they're doing is just as important as what you're doing. And if I give any advice to anybody, is never give up. When somebody says you can't do it, prove them wrong. When you're tired, when you don't want to get up in the morning, realize somebody else is getting up. You want to become a pro, somebody else is getting up, and they will take your job. Nobody's waiting for you, so you got to take it from them. And that's my story.